Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coaches around the world, welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the big man himself, the king of the castle, the king on top of the hill, my man, Dr. Karl Bryan. Welcome back to the show.
You realize I'm getting emails to Dr. Karl Bryan, right?
Listen,
you realize that, right? I am not a doctor, folks. Anybody listening, I don't want that out there.
Well, as long as you don't start calling me your dental hygienist, we'll be just fine. That would not be good. I don't know why I'm planting that seed, but I am not your doctor's assistant. I will not be handing you a scalpel anytime soon. So there you go. Unlike Karl, unlike your good buddy Dangerous Dave. Dangerous Dave, ladies and gentlemen, has been making an appearance in Karl's daily emails. If you're not getting
love
these,
Dangerous Dave shoots. Don't pretend like you don't like Dangerous Dave. Man.
Listen, bud. What was the? Hang on. You send me these things, and I write them down. So Dangerous Dave has a blind date over the weekend. Dangerous Dave. So what are you passionate about? Date. I love animals. Dangerous Dave. I work with animals. Date. Are you a vet? Dangerous Dave. No, I'm a butcher. Listen, this guy is he's next level. I love it when he is having a conversation and a lady says to him, "I'm very attracted to men of power," and Dangerous Dave replies, "I just paid my light bill." There you go, shoot. These are not my jokes, ladies and gentlemen. These are the doctor himself. There you go.
I got to tell you, Dangerous Dave, he's pretty popular out there. There's in a very short period of time, he's being requested. They're calling for more. My drunk aunt, mixed reviews. Dangerous Dave's got 5 stars. And the early goings, but got to keep them entertained. Shoots, got to keep them entertained.
Listen, when I think of Dangerous Dave, did you ever watch the Super Dave Osborne show?
Oh,
growing up.
Are you kidding me? Oh, I love him. Yeah. Dangerous
so
Dave.
Good.
Yes.
There
what was his
go.
name? Super Dave, right?
Yeah. Super Dave Osborne.
He died actually not too long ago. Poor bugger.
He did, yeah. Well, his last name was Einstein, right? So he was also a recurring character on Curb Your Enthusiasm. That show is the best show on television by a million. Like it's so crazy. So crazy. Anyway,
by a million, Shoots. By a million.
By a million.
There you go.
Hang on. Kaboom. Drop the mic. The end. How's that?
The best. There we go. All right.
You know what? We are no Siskel and Ebert. People aren't here for our movie and television reviews or aren't here for our hilarious stand-up prowess. Even though you did talk about wanting to do some stand-up comedy a while back there, Shoots. So thankfully that hasn't happened.
That's happening.
That's good.
That's happening.
You know what? It's not. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not doing it. There's a lot of other things I'd rather do, and that is not on my bucket.
You heard it here first. Road Dog doing comedy. Stand up. There you go.
All right. Let's get this train back on the tracks, as they say. Listen, a couple of weeks ago, you left me thinking about, you were talking about insights, right? And you gave a bunch, like the toothbrush test, right? And the importance of just jumping on trends early. It's funny. You always talk about, was it like getting ahead of the parade? Something like that, right? Like that's sort of a thing that you always talk about, how the richest people in the world built networks and how it's not an experiment if you know it's going to work, right? Like gold, obviously. Is there anything further that comes to mind for you in regards to that? Just because I thought that was pretty darn good, and I'd like to sort of hear, what else you have to say about that.
Look, okay, so high five. That's it. That's good when I get the road dog, thinking about this stuff in between shows. Look, jumping on, you said you got to get out in front of the parade. A bunch of different metaphors you could use for that. But like example, I like to think about, just think of anybody who got in early on crypto. Okay. How are they looking? They're looking like geniuses about now, ripping around in, Lamborghinis and multi-million dollar houses. And many of them are in their 20s, right? That's an example. Now, again, you got to be careful. Multiple streams of income, letting focus, you jump on too many, and how's that going to look out? But getting on trends early is absolutely where a lot of money is made. And so, metaphor that I like to think of, like I'm a bad surfer, but I have done some surfing in my day, living in Australia for a long time. And so, with a really good wave, I can actually look like I know what I'm doing when I'm surfing, right? And Kelly Slater, world champion, like probably the greatest surfer of all time, pretty comfortably, kind of like the Michael Jordan of surfing. That might be a slight exaggeration, but he's up there. If there is no wave, Kelly Slater and myself, very amateur surfer, we both look like seals, waving our arms and legs on a board. You know what I mean? But with a wave, Kelly Slater, number one surfer of all time, amazing. If I can make a decent wave, if I can ride a decent wave and look like I know what I'm doing, imagine what he would be able to do. That's the business. So, okay, what I mean by that is when you're looking for coaching clients, one of the things, often nobody's got any money, nobody's got any money, nobody's got any money. It's a crazy thing to say. That's what you're saying. You're out to lunch in a lot of ways as a business coach. Your job is to make them some money, by the way, cough, cough. But look at the industry. Okay. So again, like, Road Dog, like, do we have an aging population? The answer is yes. Okay. And that's not my opinion. That's not something Road Dog's he's going to agree with me on. So then we're going to jump on board. Like, these are, Road Dog and I could go do some stats, look at the data, and we could tell you unequivocally, without question, that the population is aging. So if that's a wave, okay, then the question is, what's a business that you could jump into? What's an industry where you could attract some clients where you don't necessarily need to go and create the market, but the market's already there. So think anti-aging, right? So like, think Botox, right? This is an example, right? 10 years ago, Botox probably hardly existed. Today, you got to wait in line, and the businesses are popping up all over the place. So jumping on trends early, as a business coach, I'm looking for industries, looking for a number of things. A high unit of sale probably should be said there. If I'm looking for a coaching client, I want a high unit of sale. In other words, I want a $10,000 quote unquote thing versus $100 thing. Because if they have $100 thing and I'm $2,000 a month, they got to sell 20 of them to break even every month. Or sorry, they got to, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they need to, before they break even, they're already tired, is what I'm getting at, right? Well, that's a coaching client that I'm going to lose, right? So like a massage therapist charging $100 a massage is a client that is going to cancel early because of the low unit of sale and then margin comes into it. But back to the point, which is important, not when I'm looking for coaching clients, I'm not just looking for the client. And ideally they're hungry. If you give me a business owners that hungry, I can make magic even in the worst industry, or at least that's, been my experience. And probably if you're a good coach, you can do that too. Road Dog most certainly can. But we're looking at the industry, kind of dragging on here, Road Dog. But like, so I don't want you just to think about jumping on trends early. I want you to be thinking about what could that mean to you as a business coach and where you're going to go. So anyways, so Road Dog, you're asking me some other insights. Maybe a frame. Okay, so again, let's frame this up. The importance. I'm guessing I would have said this a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember. But okay, so you guys have heard me say that if you followed the podcast, said this zillion times, and I'll continue to, everybody talks about 80-20, which is really important. Okay, if you're following 80-20 with your coaching clients, and your coaching clients is applying the 80-20 rule on a regular basis, like say a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis to their business and their activities, you're going to have a great coaching client. You're going to have a great relationship. But way more exciting than that. When you go, now you go 20, so 80-20, so you pull the 20% pie out of the pie, and now you've got just 20%. That's where you should concentrate your efforts and your time and kill brain cells there. Well, if you go 80-20 inside that small piece of pie, and then you go 80-20 inside that small piece of pie, and then you go 80-20 inside that small piece of pie, you end up at 150. Okay, so think leverage, right? 1% of your activity gets a leverage of 50. Okay, so think of it, metaphor, said this before, say it again. Take a magnifying glass and put it over the 20, and what you're looking for is that 1%. And I would imagine there's nobody listening that wouldn't agree that that's a good idea. The problem, the difficulty is, first, the level of focus that that's going to take is incredible. And it's really, 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 really hard to find that 1% activity. And there's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing exciting about it. It's not funnel hacking, and it's not Facebook advertising, and it's not multiple streams of income, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have that sexy appeal to it. So it's really, really boring. It's kind of like, again, I always say success is the same movie 3 times a day, 7 days a week for 10 years. And then I apologize and say sorry, right? Because I know you want something really cool and to live this amazing lifestyle. But the truth is, building a business is hard. Anyway, so if you agree with me on 150, and this isn't my opinion, this is a universal principle that I, Road Dogg, and you cannot get away from, and your coaching client can't either. Here's the magic. And I'm sure I said this, but I want to say it again. So 150, that should excite you. 1% gives a leverage of 50. But when you go, this is something straight from my mentor, 0.000000001, 10 zeros and then 1, you get leverage of 13 billion. Okay? 13 billion. But again, if it was hard to find the 1, you're going to have a hell of a time finding that one, right? So anyway, so that's the frame of, that's what an insight is. An insight is something that brings everything else together. Maybe what I said a minute ago is a high unit of sale. If you've never thought about that, I've had people tell me that in coaching, when they heard me say that, because I've been saying it for a decade, that changed everything, because they were going to the B&I group and wondering why the gal selling aromatherapy and the gal selling, crystals, and the gal selling whatever, it's insurance, or it's, everybody's broke. Well, no, it's not that everybody's broke. It's that they don't have a high unit of sale. Okay, so solution. So that might be it. That could be an insight where you go, oh my gosh, like, it's not that nobody has any money. It's that I am positioning myself and accidentally attracting the absolute wrong client. I want to go to moving companies with a $5,000 unit of sale. I want to go to a roofing company with a $10,000 unit of sale and like, say, 50% margin. It can't be like a $10,000 unit of sale and then like a $1,500 profit margin, right? That's not an ideal client, right? So anyway, so that could be an example of an insight that brings everything together. This is why Warren Buffett reads for literally 80% of the day. So I hope that hit. I hope that dropped. That insight brings everything together, right? The trend thing that I gave you earlier. Oh, wow. Like, going to industries that are fast moving, like, that's a better idea than just trying to find a simple client. And by the way, there's a combination of all of this. But Road Dogg, to answer your question, other systems that I didn't drop, I just tell you, a $25 million company is an HR company. They are in the business. I just interviewed 2 people today as I talk to you, by the way, who I think are going to be fabulous. And, one is an accountant, and she wasn't applying for an accountant job, so I swapped it. So I was hiring one person, and then an accountant fell on my lap, and I'm like, oh my God. So we literally created a position. Well, we're about to in the next 72 hours. So a $25 million company is actually an HR company. Facebook, any big company is in the business of recruiting talent. On that note, look, an insight, 1 A+ player is worth 9 B players. Again, that's not me speaking. This is the Warren Buffetts, the Charlie Mungers, some of the smartest business, Ray Dalios, the business minds in the world. That's what they'll tell you. With your clients, be very careful to hire manager. This isn't a black and white, pretty close though. You should never hire a manager, right? So somebody to manage. What you do is you have a division, like, and by the way, I'm channeling my inner Jeff Bezos, right? You have a division, and say you got 10 people in this specific division. If two pizzas can't feed them in a meeting, the group's too big, okay? And what happens is one of them, organizational behavior, I took that in college, which I went straight through college, as my dad will tell you. I went in the front door and out the back. Okay. But basically, organizational behavior will tell you that a group of 10 people, there's certain roles that people in every group of 10, it'll pan out this way. And without going through all of the numbers, one person will rise to the top, right? Always. Well, create a division of 10, and the person that rises to the top is the highest performing person in that division, make them the manager and have them continue to run the group. We've got that in our onboarding right now. We've got nine coaches, 3 levels, 9 coaches, 3 at the low level, 2 at the intermediate level, and then 3 at the advanced level. And as they move through, well, the number one operator of those 9 manages the entire division. So that, I think that might, versus I think what other people think is that what you do is you got this, 9 coaches, you need to go hire somebody who's a manager. So the top performer becomes it. I think that that's an insight. I think that is the kind of big rock that knocks over other rocks, that kind of brings things together. Road Dog, right now, top of mind, friction. Spent an hour on the phone with our IT guys talking about this. Friction, there are companies, like there's a specific company, I'm not going to name it, but they do about $100 million a year. And Road Dog, do you know how many salespeople they have? Do you know how many people? $100 million of revenue of sale. These are new accounts, right? So new business sales over a 12-month period. They have zero staff salespeople. Everything's done online. So what does that mean, and how is that relevant? Friction. So you ever tried to get a hold of Facebook, right? You're locked out of your account or something like that. How's that work out for you? You ever tried to get somebody at Google on the phone? How's that working out? You try to get anybody, your CRM, whatever. So basically, friction is the enemy of scale. Worded differently. Humans are the enemy of scale. Okay, so in other words, if you want to scale a business, you want less humans. Okay, so you tell me if Facebook have done a good job of that. You tell me if Airbnb have done a good job of that. Tell me if Uber have done a good. When you hired an Uber, did you speak to anybody? The answer is no. Okay, so that's zero friction, right? So basically, friction is building a business that operates, and we have, again, we're building. We've got where we're at. We're at where we're at. And then the goal is to, create less and less and less friction. And even though I know how to create less friction, it's impossible for me and the team to do now and tomorrow and next week and next month. But I need to know what I want it to look like in 3 years, if that makes sense. So if you know where you're going, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So you got to really be able to define what that's going to look like, at least to the best of your ability. And one of the things we were talking about literally today, and it's an ongoing discussion, is to minimize friction. And what is also Jeff Bezos says, raving fans don't send support tickets, right? So think about that, right? So actually we talked about this recently. I don't want to duplicate stuff, but so we have somebody who was going through all of our past support tickets, reverse engineering it and go, okay, how could I eliminate that question in the future and put that system, that process in place? So Road Dog, I don't know how I'm doing here. Look, one last one maybe. Compounding, again, we've talked about this before, but I think that in the interest of you asking me to drop some insights, which we did on the last call, and I remember I've heard a number of heard a number of comments about that podcast that seemed to have gone over well. So just thinking about compounding. What is it, Edison? He called the eighth wonder of the world. Maybe it's Einstein, the eighth wonder of the world. It's compound interest. So compounding doesn't just happen with money, right? It happens with your growth. If you improve yourself, if you get my emails, okay, what is it called? It's now called One Profit Acceleration Thing. It was originally called One Coaching Thing. Basically, I was just like, every day I tried to learn something. I've done that it's been years now. Every day I just want to learn something, and not just anything, but normally I try to do business, marketing, and wealth. I tried to fall in those 3 categories. Well, 365 days later, I cannot recognize myself, in turn. So when I learn something, Road Dog, we hang up here. Road Dog says something to me. He teaches me something, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Well, when I put that on top of all the other things I've learned over the last, days and days and days over, multiple years, I get like I don't get. Let's just say he get that answer that thing that he teaches me has like 1% value, but when I put it on top of everything else, I get like a massive compounded growth. A better example, and again, this is from a previous. We talked about this, and it was a while ago though. If I have a company, the bigger your company, the more predictable, the most sustainable it is, the higher the multiple. Okay, so let's assume you've got a company that's valued at $50 million, right? And it's got a 10x multiple for the sake of the argument. And then what did I say? 50 million. And then you've got another company that's worth 1 million and it has a 2 multiple. When the $100 million company buys that $1 million company, guess what? They don't get a 2 multiple, they get a 10 multiple. Right? You follow that? You see the magic of that? So I don't know if that's a good example or a confusing example, but that would, in my world, in my opinion, that's a good example of how to get your head around compounding. And compounding, if you think that compound interest sounds exciting, and you bloody should, because it's, again, literally, the wonder of the world, that might be some value to, bring it into your relationships, bring it into your, your time and consistency. It's just, it's just 10 minutes a day invested in your own education. In 3 days you'll be moving forward, but you won't. But it's like oxygen. You won't feel it. That's the problem, right, Road Dog? Like, it's not exciting. It's not. Oh my gosh. Actually, and then look, Road Dog, I'm going to throw this back to you. But decentralize is something else. Again, so example I have given in the past, but I'll give it here. You got a casino, and they used to have like one set of books for the whole thing. What they do now is they have a retail store, its own set of books, its own manager. They have a clothing shop, its own set of books, its own manager. They got a restaurant, its own set of books, its own manager. So that's an example of decentralized. When you go buy a car and they have a service department, the used car department, and then the new car department, those are three. Those 3 units are decentralized. So anyways, I think that's yeah, I think that's what I got, bud. That's what I got, man. What do you think?
So first off, if you look at yourself in the mirror 12 months and you don't even recognize yourself anymore, it might be a sign that it's time to see your eye doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like your vision is already horrible. I'm just saying it. You could have changed. It's possible, but maybe your eyes are just shot. Just throwing that out there. Couple things just to go a little bit granular, just to give people ideas. You talk about support tickets. It's interesting. I was doing a training and for memberships, right? Like if you're selling courses or programs or memberships, whatever, in a way to reduce, I think what they say about 80% of all of the initial things. And again, what's the biggest thing, Karl? When somebody buys your course or program, what's the biggest thing that you want them to do? Log in, right? You want them to actually get started. But one of the biggest complaints is, what's my username and password? So what they were teaching in this program is you don't just email it, you also capture their phone number and then you text it to them. That dropped their support tickets by 80%.
Nice. Yeah.
Right? Because now it
just makes sense. You just say it literally makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, like it a lot. Yep.
Not only does it reduce the amount of time your team is now spending on resubmitting and re-emailing credentials, but now you're actually getting them to log in, which was kind of hopefully the point of your program, is that people actually use it, right? Because that means they're going to actually, get the value of what you're trying to do. The other thing you talked about was friction. You know what drives me absolutely crazy is when why does it seem some places and some websites, they make it really hard to pay? Like, that should be the easiest. You know what I mean? Like, give me whatever credit cards you got. Like, I'm in. Cash, check, credit, debit, I'm in. But some people just can't seem to get their head wrapped around that. And it's like, yeah, sorry, we don't do that here. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like that's wild to me. So, anyways, on your decentralization, I just want to dive just for a second, hopefully just a second, a little. Why would you want to? Aren't you creating more work for yourself by having everything
Yeah,
decentralized?
I could see how. Yeah, okay. Great question, by the way. But short term, yes. Long term, the extra value that you would bring to the company, to the organization, the statistics. Think of the dashboard. Um, just so much more data. Again, yeah, I hear how you could say that, but you know what I mean. See that, and no doubt others are too. But short term answers yes. Long term, no comparison. That would be my answer.
Got it. Got it. And it's funny as I was looking at these questions before, I was thinking about that whole getting ahead of the parade and everything else. Have you ever read the book Crossing the Chasm?
Ah, have I? You know what? Somebody recommended or spoke to me about that book recently. I don't think so. I don't think. You could give us a real
It's
quick overview. What's
it's
the
all
deal?
about early adopters, right? It's
Right.
like you're getting the early adopters um, of a tech that are willing to try
Yeah.
something new,
Yeah.
be it new
Yeah.
technology, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually running into this with one of my clients right now for a marketing campaign, and it's they are targeting more of the early adopters. It's an interesting one, right? Because to be ahead of it, you have to be almost be willing to take more risks.
Yep.
But again, knowing it's going to work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it. It's
Right.
not an experiment if you know it's going to work. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it.
I love that. That's so good. Listen, now kind of going a little bit bigger picture here, sort of more of a broad question. I always find it interesting because I know you have a process and a framework for this, but somebody wrote and says, "Hey, I'm looking for a name for my new coaching program. Do you have an effective process?" Yes, you do. Can you sort of share that? Because I know we've talked about this before, but I think it's a really good question.
Yeah. Uh, you- yeah. This is where you should spend some time. Come up with great names for your programs and events. Um, look, the name of your company. So here's the mistake people make is they spend all their time on their logo and the name of their company. So example that I would give you is think of the NFL. Okay. So the National Football League. They don't promote the NFL. They promote Tom Brady. They promote the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, maybe to a lesser degree, but like again, high profile guy. They market the teams, they market the games, they market the playoffs, and they most certainly market the Super Bowl. So think about events, right? So think programs and events over the name of your company. Actually, think products, programs, and events. That's where you're. So I'm glad again. So somebody asking for the name of the program and not the name of their company. This is a good thing. What did Tim Ferriss do? Again, very famous story out there. I can't remember what he was going to call the 4 Hour Work Week, but it was something different. And he, very simple, ran, split test, which, whatever, like one to the 4 Hour Work Week, one to time productivity, and another one to something else, had a few different names, tested it. And the 4 Hour Work Week was like lights out winner, lights out. Actually, another story like Steve, like very similar. Where Steve Madden, he's very famous now because of the show The Wolf of Wall Street, right? So he was kind of the, you know, Steve Madden shoes was a big thing in the movie. So they used to have like they would make a couple hundred pairs of shoes, and then only in the popular sizes, right? So just a very small run. And then they had flagship stores in very popular locations in San Francisco and New York. And then what they do is they would test, like say they had a wall of 100 shoes, they would test which ones were getting picked up, tried on, and most definitely purchased, right? Well, the ones that got picked, they were the ones that they did the big, the ones that were most popular are the ones that they did the big runs with. And often, I'll tell you this, that the ones that they chose, the ones that they thought would win, were not the ones that won. And then the ones, often the one that they thought might be a little bit of a dud or a little bit too out there, a little bit too eccentric, or boring for that matter, were the ones that were runaway winners. So that's how they decided to do it, right? So, basically, think about um, what that could mean for your coaching client, what that could mean for you, right? But imagine how much that saved in production. What do most companies do? They make they don't make hundreds, they don't make like a couple hundred styles of products. They make three and then just like put it out there, right? Like, so pretty smart process, very commonly done. And those two stores in, again, popular locations, New York and LA, they provided insights like everything coming together on steroids, right? And the rent doesn't matter in those locations. Whatever money that they paid for rent in those locations, which would have been exorbitant, wouldn't have mattered because the profitability didn't need to be in those stores. It was kind of like a focus group on steroids, right? Like, think about the power of that. But here's the thing: is your client doing anything like that? Are you testing? And that's something you should think about doing. Actually, semi-related, but not really. I remember I used to own a retail shop, right, where I used to sell, little minor skateboards, but more it was rollerblades and wheels and bearings and hockey gear and that sort of thing, right? Skates and all that kind of thing. So what I do is I had this one pair of skates that I put it, because my job is to try and sell. Say I had $250 rollerblades, and then I had $1,000 rollerblades, and the $1,000 were, obviously high end, and we had, there were certain skates that we had better margins on, right? And I knew, and by the way, which ones were the best value for the end consumer, had all of that established. And here's what I did: is I took one skate and I put it on the wall. And truth be told, I actually hid the other skate so that, one of my staff never sold it when I was there, right? So what I would do is grab a skate that I wanted them to buy for, say it was $750, and then I would show them the inexpensive one. And then I basically, if you understand skates, the more money you spend, the stiffer the back will be. Okay. And on the very expensive ones, it's ridiculously stiff. That's what you're paying for. Because think of the responsiveness, right? Like, you want it to be, if you can kind of picture skating, the stiffer it is, the more responsive it is, the more it reacts to your, like a second skin. And if there's a lot of folding, that's not a good thing. So I would show them the really bad one and then show them the expensive one and say, this is what you're going to get for $200, $300, $400, $500, but this is what you get for $750, and this is what your kid needs, or this is what you need. And, I sold countless high-end skates as a result of that demonstration, right? So, and the staff did as well, right? So, Road Dog, like, what are people looking for? Like, name it that. Don't just call it the Sacramento, like, say you're going to do live events, right? The Sacramento Business Workshop. It's lazy. How to successfully market your business online in Sacramento. The 5 instant incredible profitability hacks for your local Sacramento business, how to instantly find reliable staff in Sacramento willing to work for minimum wage, maybe, or maximum wage, or for $100,000, how to build a successful sales team in Sacramento. How we built a successful sales team in Sacramento, if you're able to say that ethically, how to sell your Sacramento based business in less than 90 days. Advertising your business successfully in Sacramento, advertising your business online successfully in Sacramento, 5 steps to, go to a networking function. Like, what I used to do is I would go to a networking function, and then the name of my presentation was 5 steps to networking your business successfully in, and then I would just name the city or the suburb, right? It was so easy. And then I would do a presentation for like a newspaper, or, this is back in the day, a magazine where they sold advertising. And then it would be like, 5 steps to advertising your business successfully in, and then just name the city, name the suburb, right? So it's like, what were they thinking? I named it that. How to build a profitable 7-figure business from a standing start in Sacramento. The 5 is it primary, second? No, it would be prime. The 5 primary reasons Sacramento businesses fail and how to overcome them all. I don't know why I keep saying Sacramento. I've never even been there. But anyways, like, okay, here's what you want to do. You want to be thinking about a hook, okay? And again, a hook. Look, back in the days, I ran a program It was a membership deal where I sent a DVD. I covered that. You'd paid me for this free plus shipping with forced continuity is what it was called, made famous by Mr. Russell Brunson. Anyway, so I would send out a DVD. You'd pay me $7 for shipping, and then you would automatically go into my $97 a month recurring program, which was a membership site online. So again, it was how I earned $187,000 my first 9 months online as a coach, right? Like I canvassed coaches. What are you trying to accomplish? And they were trying to make money selling online and selling their coaching online, and nobody was able to crack the code and show them. So kind of just named the program. I attached a number, 187 grand. Truth be told, it was significantly higher than that, but most of the coaches were doing very low numbers. So if I would have said, how to do $1 million in 9 months, I would have broke rapport. That's a bit of a hack right there. And then I followed that one up with how I generated 250 hot new coaching leads in 90 days using Google. Because again, I built a list of, I can't remember, but call it 10,000 coaches in very short order. If that, whatever the number was, but it wasn't that, it was hundreds, bought. But then I had like thousands that didn't buy. And I was like, well, what are you guys looking for? They told me, did a little survey. And then it was like they were looking for leads, right? And they wanted to use Google. That was the hot thing. This is way back. This is 15 years ago. And then it was like how I generated 250 hot new coaching leads in 90 days using Google, right? So it was $187,000, how I earned $187,000 my first 9 months online as a coach, followed by how I generated 250 hot new coaching leads in 90 days using Google, right? So it's very similar, but kind of totally different. And then again, that was another free DVD that I created. And then I had the membership site, and I did insanely well. And people from that, by the way, would cancel their membership, kind of bitch and moan a little bit about the $97 hitting their credit card. And I tell you, the number of people that I sold a $10,000 program to who were canceling, and yes, canceling a $97 payment would make your eyes water. My wife used to laugh, and I would, we'd get these calls 2 a.m. and I would just stumble out of bed, answer the phone, and I had the ability to, shake the cobwebs real quick. They would have no idea that I was literally asleep there, literally 90 seconds ago. And boom. But anyway, and then today, again, the software, profit acceleration software, can find any business owner 100 grand in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. So Road Dog, it's a hook, man. It's a hook. So naming your program, it's kind of like, what are, I don't know. It's coming up with a hook. What are they looking for? Kind of name it that. So there you go.
You know what I love about that is knowing your customer, right? Like
Yes.
when you said why 187 grand, why not $1 million? Because it would break rapport.
Yeah, 100%.
You knew your client so well that you knew exactly like the dollar amount that would make sense. Where they'd be like, well, that's interesting because $1 million, everybody uses that, right?
Yeah.
It's just do your homework and then name it the actual result that people want.
Yeah.
Like it seems crazy, but speaking of
I know.
well, let's run through run through the names of some of the programs and stuff that you've got, because you've got a bunch obviously, but can you walk us through those and maybe if you can, like, how did you get there?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, yeah. So because I guess what I just did is I listed off some more like events, like programs. Well, okay. We have a program called Live Event Mastery. Okay. I've filled over 400 local live events. You and I, Road Dog, right, have followed that process and got 100%. Last time Road Dog and I did a local live event, I got 100% conversion from the room. But that's not to an appointment. That's to high-end coaching client for thousands of dollars. Not trying to pat ourselves on the back here, but but it's called Live Event Mastery. So that's the program that we provide our clients. And again, and then Garen, look, let me name some, and then maybe we'll reverse engineer a little bit here. So guaranteed profit system. And then I brought that back to like Live Event Mastery, we call LEM. So it's an acronym. And three, every sport that you follow has got three. It's, PGA, NFL, NHL, MLB, PGA. I said that, like, they've all got three letters, and there's a reason. It's a, numerology, and just believe that if you're naming your program, you're naming your company. There's a superpower in making it three words. A fourth, you lose a lot of power. So guaranteed profit system, and then we called it GPS. Then I used to have a program, and again, this is a long time ago, like almost 2 decades, but achieving business excellence, and I called that ABE. And we also had the sales and marketing audit, which was like the sales consultation. So you'd come to the local live event. And then, by the way, here we go, Road Dog. This is going back 15 years ago. I haven't said this a lot in the last decade and a half, but see if I can do it. And now here's the headline for if you were to be on my list. And if you were, I'll apologize because we hit you hard back in the day. But this is the headline: announcing the hands-on, roll up your sleeves. Here's how you do it. Let's start making more money by this time tomorrow. Strategic sales and marketing workshop. So that was the headline. And again, and I got to tell you, that's, well, I can tell you, we tested a lot of them. I don't know that we didn't do like some amazing split test that you could do nowadays, with Google and whatnot, but had multiple names, and that one crushed it. But we would get you there with that, and then we would sell you a sales and marketing audit. And this might be relevant. Okay, so the marketing material that went out for the event, all of the testimonials talked about the event, right? Which was, whatever, what I mean, the XYZ workshop, and then in that specific city, right? And then when you came to the workshop, all of my stories, at least a good percentage of them, and then all of the testimonials on the workbook all talked about the sales and marketing audit, which was the next step in the sales process. And why I'm saying that is top of mind right now is that the mistake I've seen so many times is that somebody will market an event, and I'll go to the event, and then they'll try sell me into the equivalent of their sales and marketing audit, but all their stories and all the testimonials talk about a 12-month coaching program for tens of thousands of dollars. Right? You see, so mistake. So you got your step-by-step process of your sales process, make sure your testimonials and your stories are going to each. So then when we did a sales and marketing audit, and we had marketing material, and of course I had stories that I would tell you as we would go through all of that. All of those stories were around a 12-month engagement, right? So that's an important bit. But anyways, we call it the sales and marketing audit. Today we've got, the Jumpstart 12, we've got the Deep Dive 40, we've got profit acceleration software, we've got digital acceleration software, we've got group coaching software, we got a profit acceleration simulator. We're building podcast software for business coaches. So anyway, those are the types of programs, Road Dog. But again, like guaranteed profit system. I mean, I don't know. You tell me, if you're a chiropractor, do you like the sound of guaranteed profit system called the GPS? And by the way, my packaging was always world class, like embossed, as like leather packaging, embossed. Like there's an eagle was always our symbol, and like the eagle was embossed in the leather, cost 10 times as much as what it would have cost to do it inexpensively, but just the way we did it. So it had a magnet, like when you shut it, it would literally, snap shut. So it was, quality. So when we were pulling it out, it was quality. So question is, what do your programs look like, right? Are you trying to save money with the printer if you're doing hard copy stuff? Are you trying to save money with a graphic designer if you're doing it digitally? And you probably look, there is an argument. So some people are now listening going, oh my gosh, like old school, intellectual property dropped on a desk. And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. It would set you apart. Everything there's certain people that just get frustrated with the digital experience. So that's not to say you wouldn't have a digital experience, but combining the two would be a significantly higher level of value. So maybe not just about the name of the program, but I'd like to see the deployment of your program. How are you doing it? But again, are you hiring a graphic designer? Like the money that we spent on profit acceleration software, on the artwork and getting it designed, like if you saw what we came up with, and then, basically design that we got, I got like literally as I talk, I've got In fact, on my computer, I could go to my computer right now. I won't do that, but like I can see, like I have 99 Designs, amazing site. We've got a artwork competition going on like literally right now on 99 Designs. Okay, what am I saying? The packaging of your program when they come to your live event, like, is it impressive? Like, if you feed people, are you giving them like a continental breakfast? Are you giving them a smorgasbord? I gave everybody a smorgasbord, right? I wanted it to be a bloody show. We talked about this in the past, Road Dog, but we go to the yacht club. I'm not going to the local Denny's, right? I'm not going to the local Holiday Inn. I'm going to the yacht club. We're going to the most question when you get to the city that you're going to do it in. What's the most expensive hotel in town? Do it there. Right. Then when they hear or the Chamber of Commerce, by the way, is always an excellent place to do it, but they don't always have the ability to do so. So anyways, thinking, it's maybe again, it's the delivery of the program, Road Dog, or not maybe, but absolutely that it's not just about the name. The name's going to have more power when it's digital, when it's graphically portrayed out there, and I look at it and go, wow, this is really cool. That's something you should be thinking about. So, and is it consistent and that sort of thing? So anyways, Road Dog, live event mastery, guaranteed profit system, achieving business excellence, the sales and marketing audit. We now got a Jumpstart 12, deep dive 40, profit acceleration software, digital acceleration software, group coaching software. We're building mental acceleration software. We're building podcast software. We've got all kinds of, cool names and, it's lots going on and we got names for all of it. We're not just, putting some generic name on something without giving it a little bit of thought. Jumpstart 12. I don't know. Does that sound like something you wouldn't mind having a bit of a look at? Like what 12 areas and the business owner, a jumpstart? That's what they're looking. We're going to start you with a Jumpstart 12. We're really going to get you started. Look, software's got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that basically populate a roadmap that I'm going to then put in front of you that calculates everything and put your highest level opportunities at the top and your lowest level opportunities at the bottom. So we're going to know exactly what order to go in. And then I've got intellectual property when we want to do something and create a compelling offer, create an upsell, create a downsell, create a cross sell, create a market dominating position. We're going to know exactly how to deploy because I've got the intellectual property and the ABC, what I refer to as the answers at the back of the book, right there in front of me every time, we're getting together. So I don't know. That's my answer, Road Dog. What do you think?
I love the 3 letters, right? Like the DKS system is going to be, when you release that, dude, like I don't think the world is ready for Dr. Karl's secrets. But when that gets released, bud, it's going to be next. What are you doing putting an eagle on? You're Canadian. Should be like a beaver or a goose. What's the matter with you? What do you think you are, American? Jeez, unbelievable. Hey, listen, on that though, it's so true. Like you talk about old school stuff.
Yeah.
There's been 2 different things, actually, both from marketers, ironically enough, that I have subscribed to. One has now been canceled. They quit doing it for whatever reason. But another one's actually Dan Kennedy's that I'm part of. It's a monthly subscription. And guess what you get in the first month?
What?
You get a big binder, and it's empty with one thing that's 3-hole punch that you put into it. And then every month you get a new one that you throw into it. So they're already doing that subconscious selling that you're going to fill this binder up.
Nice.
Right?
I like
with
that.
all of them that you get every single month. And we all love getting stuff in the mail because
Yep.
but that's what it is now. So
but it's
anyways.
hard, Road Dog. It's hard, you gotta, dispatch, you gotta put it together, you gotta package it, you gotta send it out, you gotta remember to send it out, you gotta be on time, there you go. Love it.
But again, it's that whole differentiating yourself in the marketplace. And that's really, really what it is. All right. Listen, I am pumped about this next question because it's mine. And I've been asking you this for realistically, I want to say 2 months, at least a month. No, it's been a month. And I'm gonna bookmark this because right now we are not. Depends on when you're listening to this podcast. You may or may not be at the beginning or end of a quarter. I know I am a big planner. I love planning. I've bought way too many planning programs and softwares more than I care to admit to anyone. I would challenge the only person that has bought more is probably you, because
Yeah,
you and I are very much alike on stuff like this. Holy smokes. Anywho, let's dive in, dude, because this I can't wait. Like, I'm going to earmark this episode because I know I'll be coming back to it. So, business coach, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Like, just planning. How do you create a plan for your days, weeks, and months? So, and I want to, like, again, that's sort of how, I guess, how we'll frame it: days, weeks, months. And then do you do quarter by quarter as well? Like, you do the 1 year, quarter, and
yeah.
then month, week, day sort of
Well,
thing?
okay, yes. So creating a plan for days, weeks, months. Is this it?
Let's just start there. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So, okay, I would start. So, Road Dog, what's your 25-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? And again, until you come up with your 25-year plan, we don't get to keep moving. And then it's your 10-year plan. And then it's your 5-year plan. And now I'm assessing these three plans. And that being said, when I say plan, actually, sorry, your goal, what's the objective in 25 years? What are you going to have accomplished? In 10 years, what are going to have accomplished? In 5 years, what are you going to have accomplished? And then we got to make sure that the 5, the 10, and the 25 are kind of synergistic, right? That they're going to coalesce, that they come together. Okay, now is it 5 years, and then I go 3 years? And again, we don't get to keep moving until you've established that. And then we go 1 year, and then we go 3 quarters, and then we go 2. You know what I mean? Or then we go, yeah. So 3 quarters, 2 quarters, this quarter, and then we go months, and then we go weeks, and then we go days. That's the way to build one crushing. But that, and I know as I say that, right? A few people are throwing up in their mouth. That's a lot of work. That is incredibly boring. That's not like kite surfing. That's not parachuting out of an airplane. It's not funnel hacking. It's not multiple streams of income. It's freaking hard work is what it is. So that's what you got to do. And as in anything, you want to achieve success, you need to have a framework, right? So look, step one, have a plan. And then you got to track your plan, by the way. Think chef versus cook. A chef will start with key like ingredients, and then the cook will take the recipe that the chef created and then add more salt, put paprika, more this, more that, and they'll improve it. So the cook improves, and then the chef creates. So it's first principle stuff. Again, we've covered this at different times, but probably pretty long ago. But you know what I mean. So I want you to be thinking about becoming the chef. I want you to start with vegetables and meats and ingredients, not start with, what do you call it? Not start with somebody else's recipe, right? And then improve it. I want to improve. So we're going first principles here, Road Dog, right? And you got to identify your big rocks, right? So you're going to create. It's not about, again, you don't need to work for 8 hours a day. And maybe you need to work for 12. I don't know what you're looking to accomplish. I can tell you're not going to be effective for 12 hours. That's for damn sure. You're not going to be effective for 8 hours, generally speaking. But what will tell us, like, are you identifying your big rocks? If you're identifying your big rocks, you could get more done. What does Bezos said? He made 3 big decisions. Like, he made 3 decisions a day. Instead, I've talked about decision fatigue a zillion times. Say, what are the big rocks? What are you looking to accomplish? Is it what you're going to do today, right now, going to help you get to that 25-year goal? And the answer's, sometimes yes, often no. But I tell you, grocery shopping definitely won't fall into it. Hire somebody to go and do that kind of stuff. Free up. I've talked about that, but free up that kind of time. We're currently reimagining. Did I say this earlier? Like, we're reimagining the entire onboarding process. So the instructions that I gave were, guys, so we've got an onboarding process, and you can imagine step 1, step 2, step 3, do, change the order, do this. But I said, guys, I don't want this improved. I don't want this improved. I want it reimagined. Right? I want it reimagined. And what's the learning for each individual coach that comes in, works with us? What is the learning objective? Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So as in month 1, month 2, month 3, a 90-day mark, where do we want them? At the 12-month mark, where do we want them? We have to reimagine the onboarding process to basically, be synergistic and to kind of move towards that. And will it be perfect? No. But is it perfect right now? No. So I don't want it. And the mistake we make is because it's been this way forever. And staff, I have a lot of staff with me for literally 10 years. Big Al, we just had 10-year anniversary. Chris has been with us for 9 years. Craig's been with me for 13 years. My bookkeeper's been with me for maybe 9 years. My business partner Adrian, we've been together for 12 years. A lot of people have been with us for a long time, right? That's not a reason to keep it the way it is, right? Because everybody's comfortable, everybody knows what to do. That's 100%. Even today, in fact, we were writing a guided tour for the software, and one of the things I sent it back, and then the guy said, we've already got this. We're going to save a whole bunch of time if we do it this way. And I said, guys, the last thing we need to be thinking about is how much time it's going to take. The goal is that we want people to watch this guided tour and be incredibly motivated to go and basically, click on, to go do this and watch, and then go do this and schedule, and then go do this and ultimately, hand over a credit card and end up working. Like that's the end goal. That's the, so I wasn't looking to improve it. I wasn't looking to, oh wow, okay, this will be up straight away. Amazing. We can have this up this afternoon, boss, right? Like that's not the way to look at it. So I hope that's landing. That's important. And I hope I'm also not trying to pat myself on the back in any way, shape, or form. It's just reimagining it, right? So the onboarding process, we're reimagining. And then this is totally what I just described, this guided tour, totally separate from that. But that's the kind of conversations, we're having internally. And I understand why they said, look, this is going to be way easier, but that's not the game plan. So, and that, look, again, if you're about to do something, Road Dog, and anybody, listening, you're a coach or you're trying to help your client, does it make everything easier, right? It's like a domino you knock over and it creates a flow-on effect. That's the kind of thing you want to be doing. It's not not like in a, tactical strategic way, but like in a bigger picture, this is the end goal at the 90-day mark. You know what I mean? Like really clearly identify that, do that. And I think you'll do good. And very few do it. That what I'm just describing is hard. We talked about the law of triviality. I feel like we're doing a lot of stuff we've talked about in the past. I try to not talk about stuff that we've talked about in the past. It's kind of one of the missions of this podcast to keep you guys entertained and why we're doing so well, I think. But law of triviality, if you got something that's easy and you got something that's trivial, they will go to trivial with like 90% predictability. That's why the school gets locked in and spends unbelievable amount of time and resources and people and money on the yearbook. And they don't update the curriculum, which might be a little bit more important. Not sure. You guys decide. And then the city, they're doing the bike path, they're doing the park, right? But what about the log jam, right? What about the lack of parking downtown? What about at 8:00 when parents are dropping off the kids? What's the traffic look like? This is what they need to be working on, right? Like that would be. That's like a big rock, but again, law of triviality, they go to trivial, and nothing we're going to say on this is going to stop the local school from not, overdoing the yearbook, which the yearbook's important, by the way, but just give me a break, right? Without a plan, you're just going to wander. If you go to the gym and you just wander around it aimlessly, like you see Road Dog work out, like he doesn't, he got a pen and a piece of paper. He's a big dude, he doesn't need to be writing down his stuff, but that's just the way he does it. But the average, there's no regularity in the gym routine, the daily schedule, for day, like this don't have that, and no routine for progress. You wouldn't remember what weight you did and how many times you did it, right? Plus no balance in your workouts. Like that's why Road Dog does it, right? To create balance in his workout. How many weightlifters skip leg day, but never skip arm and chest, right? Squats work your entire body. Most people don't do them. A pro athlete will often do squats more than any other exercise, often more than all the other exercise combined, by the way, right? Amateurs skip leg day and pros are doing leg day like nothing else. So that's why they stay amateurs, by the way, right? So what will happen is you start doing squats, you become significantly stronger, and you'll get like a compounding effect with your curls and your other activities, right? So I don't know. So, your written plan that you're committed to, it, work out 3 times per week at the same time. You know what I mean? Add, I don't know, 5%, 10%, 2.5%. Say add 5% of weight and then increase your reps 5% each week, right? And then have pull exercises, have push exercises, and legs split. You know what I mean? So do you before you go to the gym, do you know what you're working on? Are you doing pull exercises today? Right? Are you doing push exercises today? Are you doing leg today? And by the way, 3-day split, and then you take a day off, and then you start again. Do you have that plan? The answer is probably no. Well, do you have the equivalent? When somebody goes to the gym and they don't have that plan, in 6 months' time, I don't know. Are they still going to the gym? Pretty good chance there's not, right? And write it down and be specific as possible. Like, I'm going to work out a lot. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to, really, step up my gym game. No, I'm going to work out 3 times a week, 1 p.m., and I'm going to increase my weight and my reps by 5%. Like that, I don't know, you could certainly define that significantly better, but you get the idea. I don't know, that sounds like a bit of a plan, right? So, see, I don't know, is that a framework? Writing it down, because I think fitness is something we can all get our hand around and very easy, but create a framework like that, to achieve success in any area of your life. You do that in relationships with your kids, relationships with your wife, certainly your business, your marketing, your online game. See yourself as an engineer, right? Update and improve, the thing, maybe the machine, is that the right, but use data, use results. The way that Road Dogg, again, he knows that he did 11 reps last week and he's only doing 9 this week. He's not going to be happy about that. And before he lays down to to push, he knows that he did 11. He knows the target, and which leads him to do 12 or whatever the number is. Another semi-related but not related, again, I go to the gym, and I got to tell you, rule number 1, and Road Dogg knows this, but my job is to not get injured. That is it. One injury will put me out for a month minimum, 3 months, 6 months, depending upon what it is. I got right now a sciatic nerve issue that is driving me crazy, getting much better, but it's been an ongoing, pain in the you-know-what. But you work out as a frame, don't get injured, right? So lifting big weights a small number of times, look, that was great when you were 23 years old. If you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s or you're in your 60s, maybe your 70s, that's a really, really bad idea. And any doctor worth their salt or chiropractor or physio will be able to tell you that. But the rule, again, is a frame. So if I'm putting together my roadmap as I'm going to the gym, number 1, the culture, the oxygen, like in a business, you've got culture as like the film. Well, the film over top of my workout regime is don't get injured. I'm not looking to do heavy. And so forget me, you guys, with your day, am I doing a good job here? You really want to make sure that you got to build that step-by-step plan, right? Like, you got the 25-year goal, you got the 10-year goal, you get the 5-year goal, you get the 3-year goal, you get the 1-year goal, you get the 3/4 goal, you get the half-year goal, you get the 3-month goal, and then you get the month 1, month 2, month 3, and then week 1, 2, 3, 4 to get you to the first month. Do they all coalesce? Do they all run into one another, right? And if I go to the gym and I get injured, I am going to fall back massively because I can't go. So you don't make your goals too ridiculously lofty. Don't try to create multiple streams of income. Don't try to create multiple products at once. Do one product, create one marketing channel, and get one thing working successfully before you go and, complicate everything. So anyways, Road Dogg, and I don't know, like an investment framework, think of this, invest. Okay, let me just go in a 1, 2, 3, like your circle of competence. Okay. I always tell you guys, I think people follow me because they know that I follow the smartest of the smartest. And then I dissect all that stuff and I deliver it to you guys, right? So this is me learning to a large degree on this podcast in my daily emails, right? So I've invested madly in my circle of competence. I don't have a shower without YouTube playing and listening to something, right? So your circle of competence, invest in that. Use margin of safety, right? Like again, if you understand asset allocation, like you need a margin of safety. Don't go all in. It's stupid, stupid, stupid. Talk to people. If you like a store or a business or an industry, the chances are you're going to love the stock. Okay, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What would you think about that? If you invest in your inner circle of competence and you manage to get Charlie Munger, right? Warren Buffett's business partner, what would he say about you investing in a skateboard shop because you loved to skateboard back in the day? He immediately would go, there's too much emotion involved here. Let's take a step back. Give me the data. Give me the number. You know what I mean? Like look at it differently. Like that's an example of how you gotta, but without, investing in your circle of competence, you won't have those people to go to make those, big rock type decisions, and again, margin of safety. First thing, okay, you want to invest how much? And it's like, okay, well, how much do you have to invest? What percentage are we putting here? So I get asked all the time, crypto. Like it for sure, invest in crypto, but only a percentage of what you're investing, right? Because again, it could all go to zero and it could go to the bloody moon. But you know what? You'll never, where you really should invest. Again, speaking of duplicating stuff here, invest in staff. Now that is where you will get a return. Invest in yourself and invest in staff, and the return that you will get will be absolutely unbelievable. Example I love to give there is, think about, I've got a buddy, professional poker player. My dad's a professional poker player for years. I grew up around it. I can't play poker to save myself, but I can tell you that. So poker, I got a buddy, special poker player. Here's what I said to him. He's talking to me about making money and bank rolls and blah, 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 blah. And I said, man, look, you're 5 feet from greatness. Because he knows, Daniel Negreanu. He can, text the guy that's like a top Phil Hellmuth. He's got top guys. He can just like text them and have a conversation right now, right? Phone these guys up. And I'm like, you got the network. Got that circle of competence, maybe. A little different, but same idea. He's got the network in poker. I said, man, if you go to the tournament and you, again, let's say, $10,000 buy-in and you make $100,000, you're really happy, right? He's like, yeah, it's a 10x return and I'll be happy. And I'm like, well, here's what I'd be doing. You're 5 feet from greatness. What you got to do is go from this side of the table to that side of the table. In other words, you got to go to the dealer side, but don't become, I'm not saying become a dealer. I'm saying become the guy who hires the dealer, because I guarantee if you're paying $10,000 to enter this poker tournament, the guy who runs it's making $100,000, or the tournament isn't even started. He'll just cancel it either way, right? So you get what I'm trying to say? Like, maybe that he loves playing poker and some people love playing poker. Okay, so take that aside. That doesn't count for this discussion. It's that you got to make sure, you're set up for success. It kind of comes into margin of safety, but again, it's a little bit different here. But if Road Dogg came to me and he was a professional poker player, I would absolutely, with 1,000,000% certainty, and him and I, again, we're going to hang up here and we're wicked buddies just in life. I'm going to say to him, man, screw, playing poker. Like, go do that on Friday nights in Vegas or whatever. Have some fun, but create the poker tournament, and you will be guaranteed to make $100,000 every time. And imagine how big and cool that could become. So, which, by the way, is the easiest thing in the world. So then I would say to you, that's a good thing. Why is it not the easiest thing in the world? Because there's imagine the government regulations, imagine the paperwork you'd have to fill out, imagine how careful. Look, that's a good thing. You know why? Well, that's going to keep the idiots away, right? So I love software, right? Anybody can go and coach coaches. They all do. You want to compete with me in software. If you don't have, forget $1 million, you don't have multiple millions of dollars, and you don't have 3 years to just do nothing but build out your software, you're not competing with me. And then 3 years, I'm going to have a compounding effect, and I'm going to be that much further ahead of you. And I hope but you see how, because software is complicated, it's difficult and it's expensive and it's got all kinds of challenges, that's a good thing, right? So setting up the poker tournament is hard. That's why no one will do it. Right? This is amazing. You've got some land and building a fourplex and building an apartment building, right, with 300 doors. That's hard. Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's also, talk to me about your capitalization, because if you're undercapitalized, you're going to get in trouble. Again, think, quarterly and what is the end goal, right? But that's hard. So that's a good thing. And so just, Road Dog, is I'm creating this plan, what I'm doing, I'm guiding you, I'm guiding anybody. It's 25 years. What's the result? Where are we at? 10 years. Where are we at? 5 years. Where are we at? We can't move. We go backwards, right? And we can't keep moving until you've clearly, and by the way, I'm going to push back, because what Road Dog tells me first up, what he wants to do in 25 years, probably not going to be quite what he really wants. And back and forth, we're going to go, and he's going to go, wow, that's a significantly tighter, better design of the way that things are going to look. Like in 25 years, his girls are same. I got an 8-year-old daughter, right? His are, one's younger, one's a little bit older. 25 years, they're, what I mean? They get their own families, right? So there's so much different. So 25 years, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, and then quarter, and then months, and then 4 weeks. And does it all. And again, and now that you go forwards, because we just went backwards, now when you go forwards with this, does it all coalesce? And is there any changes that you'd make, Road Dog? And is there any, and are you happy with it? Does this seem right? And by the way, you could, and be dogmatic, that 25-year goal, like what do we say? Like, be flexible in your approach, but dogmatic with what the end result is. So Road Dog, that's what I'd say, man. That's the framework. 25, 10, 5, 3, 1 quarter weekly, and then and just make sure that we're knocking stuff over, and we're investing, and our business model works, and just look invest in your circle of competence. Road Dog's very good at that, right? Again, he surrounds himself with winners, and then margin of safety again. And these are kind of more like investing framework. But what is, when I hire, see, the way I see business is when I hire somebody for, again, 50 grand, 100 grand, 300, we have, people making, we've got some people making some good dough around us, that, as in staff, that's an investment all day long and twice on Sunday. When I hire somebody and they get paid $100,000, like, I am getting a return all day. Or again, they're not with us very long, but guess what? We train them. We hire. Look, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Harvard. I think we could agree that they produce unbelievable, let's say, business programs. They produce unbelievable business people generally, right? Okay. Is it Harvard? And you'd think yes. Is it MIT? And you'd think yes. Is it Stanford? And then just put any other, big school in there. That's not it. It's when they recruit, they bring in the best. So you could have the worst teachers, the worst profs, the worst curriculum, the worst this. And because they're elite of elite, they were elite at everything as they were coming in. Guess what? They're going to be elite on the way out. And yes, the education is great. Let's agree with that. But that's not why they're great. They're great because they're great, right? Like, so again, look for one A player is worth 9 B players. And I'm telling you, and that, depending upon how much staff you've taken on in your time, I'm telling you, that's absolute fact. So there you go, Road Dog. That's kind of a little bit of a plan. Maybe next week we could expand upon that, but that is hopefully a little bit of a guide. What do you think?
Love it. And this is the man who also has quarters to his day, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's,
I do.
you know what I mean? Like, that's next level. Like, it's like beep beep beep. Oh, next quarter. That's how you roll. All right, listen. Let's close this up for this week. But what's one thing that they can take, and implement and start doing into their business today?
Look, I think I would challenge everybody. I don't know if you could get a better game plan to leave everybody with than to say, what's your 25-year objective? What's the result? Where do you want to be in multiple, financially, family-wise, relationships, your business, etc. Right? We're all coaches. You get it. And then come back 10 years and come back 5. But I just tell you, like, because I probably say it, you're like, oh my God, it's a great idea. I challenge you, you won't do it. You know, why? I don't know, but you won't do it. So I challenge you to do it. And by the way, your coaching client, definitely, you're a coach. This is the choir. Your coaching client definitely won't. So I push you to actually bloody do it, you know? And by the way, and then, so now so let's assume now they did it, Road Dog, right? Laminate it, whatever. Are you going to revisit it on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis and relaminate it and then go over the top of it and say, hang on, you know, I adjusted this, right? But that 25-year objective, you know, again, let's assume that you can really nail that. Well, you can be flexible with the approach, but be, you know, yeah, flexible in the approach, but dogmatic with what it is that you're going to pull off. And you know, I said years, I've said this for a long time. I want to set the standard for the entire business coaching profession. And the reason I know it's like, this is all I do. You know, I'm not going to like become the crypto guy tomorrow. I'm not going to become the real estate guy. I'm not going to become the whatever guy. I'm not going to go into, you know, whatever. That's not happen. I don't care. NFTs, this, that, the other. I'm not going to, you know, decide I want to be the next Tony Robbins, start flying around the world doing live events and jumping up and down. I'm not going to do that. It's not what I do. Business coaching, that's my thing. And the best way that I can find right now is software to basically, you know, leverage and help as many business coaches. And then through those business coaches, I help the business owner. Ultimately, I got asked this actually not long ago. I was going through our model a little bit with somebody, real high level guy. And he was just trying to, and I said, look, stop, because he's getting a little bit confused. I just go, here it is. Everything I build is for the chiropractor, the dentist, the roofer, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Everything. That is who we're about. That's the foundation. But all of our tools, we get to them through the business consultants that are in the middle, the business coaches, the consultants. Lots of accountants work with us, and business brokers and promotional, you know, anybody B2B kind of could find their way to us and, you know, benefit massively. But ultimately what I did, then he went, oh, okay, I get it. You know, profit acceleration software is ultimately about the chiropractor. The consultant uses it, but that ultimately it's designed to create a roadmap. The end user is the chiropractor, the dentist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Digital acceleration software, same thing. It's for the end user. Or for the end, the small business owner. So anyways, that's, you know, but that's why I know that we're going to, you know, we, in 10 years time, you know, hopefully Road Dog will still be here with me, right? We'll continue to do this and laugh and giggle and do whatever the hell it is we do. But that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's impossible, quite frankly, to compete with, because I'm just never going to give up. You can come, but I'm just going to every day a little bit better, every day a little bit better, every day a little bit better. Just slowly. We're not pretending to be Salesforce, right? Love, which, by the way, I don't know, who knows, whatever, but that's, you know, Mark Benioff, love the guy, and that's you know, that's a visionary on bloody steroids. But bottom line, the guy's impacting a lot of lives and made a ton of money. Not pretending to be there, but we're just going to keep going. And so, anyways, the 25-year plan is very clearly defined, very simple. I got the 25 to 10. I mean, I've done this, and I continue to revisit it on a regular basis. Could I do a better job? You bet. I could do a significantly better job. But am I doing it? You know, am I, you know, kind of, you know, eating my own cooking? And the answer is yes. So anyways, I think, so Road Dog, I challenge anybody here. And again, I'm going to put money on the fact you won't do it. So prove me wrong. Let's go. 25, 10, 5, 3, 1, quarters, weeks. There we go. Boom.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge your 25-year vision. Is you ready for
standard. Yeah. Set the standard. So business, set the standard for the entire business coaching profession. The end.
No.
Okay.
So 25-year vision, you're gonna be done. You're gonna be retired. You're gonna be cajillionaire, sold out, whatever. You and I, we're gonna have a candlestick making business downtown Kelowna. This is happening. You are the most experienced man that I know. You know, you always talk about the butcher, the baker, but the candlestick maker, that is just an underserved, and we need to get there. All right, folks, thanks for tuning into another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man himself, Dr. King Karl Bryan, not a real doctor. If you're not on the inside getting asked the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails, or you want more jokes, right? We got to know what Dangerous Dave's up to. Like, just go to focus.com, subscribe today. You'll get the daily dose of Dangerous Dave. Holy smokes, did I just do that? That's alliteration, my friend. And again, if you enjoyed the podcast, please share with a fellow coach or someone you think might make a great coach, someone that's a great salesperson, highly motivated, blah, 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 all that. You know the people. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And of course, we'd appreciate, as always, if you'd rate the episode. As we know that iTunes, Spotify, and all the other great streaming services give an insane amount of weight towards reviews. So please leave us a review if you like what you heard. And that is it for another week. Remember, folks, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.